I'm not one of these Indians who idolizes the West anymore. Are you with me, yeah?
Yeah.
Life in the West isn't that great, is it? Like every time I meet people who live, like, by the way, by the West, I mean, all of those countries, like America, Germany, Britain, because they're all the same. They're just terrified people being ruled by blondes with bad haircuts. Every time I meet people from the West, I'm like, if life in the West is so good, why are you still doing dishes? Your cousins in the West do their dishes, don't they, yeah? We don't do dishes. You know what it takes to make Indian people do dishes? A global pandemic. That's what it fucking takes. Before we will enter the kitchen. We don't do dishes, we create employment. We oppress a weaker section of society. And we learned that from you, the West. How did white people invent servitude and then just forget about that shit? If there is a free square foot in India, we will put a job in that square foot. Agreed? In the West, you go to a parking structure, you put your own window down, you hit a button, the ticket comes out, you take the ticket, the barrier goes up, you go park your own car, and when you're going out, you take the ticket again, the barrier goes up, you put this thing, you pay your own thing and go out. In India, there is a guy who pulls the ticket and gives it to you in your window. Sare jahan se acha. I think the West isn't good. Like, you check into like a Western hotel in like London or New York, you have to carry your own bags. That sucks. On like a weekend trip, we're Indian, we can't do that. We have 36 bags. Why do you think so many Indian immigrants live around Heathrow or JFK, right? Because we just landed and we're like, we're not carrying this shit to downtown, we'll just live here. When you get to the hotel in the West, there's no toothbrush in your room. I hate that about American hotels. At the Taj, if you pay enough money, we will brush your teeth for you. We'll come up with a scheme, molars for dollars or something. If you fall sick in America, you have to go to the pharmacy and wait half an hour and get medicines yourself. Do you want to do that? I come from Mumbai. In Mumbai, you can have chemotherapy home delivered, alright? And if you pay a little bit extra, the guy who gets you your chemo will pick up a pack of cigarettes for you on the way to your house. That's Mumbai. Haan, bhaiya, 4 chemo, 2 ultramide le aana, please. Stuff. In the West, you have racism, and racism is such a primitive system of thought. Why? It seems archaic to hate somebody basis the color of their skin when you can hate them basis what college they went to. I don't care if you came from Africa if I know you're going to Amity. That's all I'm saying. American parents don't pay for college. They make their children take loans. You know what we would do if our parents made us take a loan? We'd go and tell everybody in the fucking mohalla, Papa loan lena chahte hain. And the next week, Papa would pay for college. In the West, your accent matters so much. How you sound dictates how you get treated. I have so many American cousins. Remember that Apu from The Simpsons controversy, right? And they're like, oh my God, that Apu accent is racist and it's offensive and it propagates the wrong stereotypes. And I was bullied in high school because of that Apu accent. And I'm like, yo, Apu isn't the Indian with the funny accent. You are. Apu doesn't sound strange to me. You sound stranger than a motherfucker, right? Like I love NRIs because they pay in dollars. I love them, all right? But I like them. They're wonderful people, but let's be racist together under this tree, huh? We used to deal with that shit because you were nice cousins who gave us cool gifts during the summer holidays, right? But now we have cool shit at home in India. So now you're just a guy who can't say gulab jamun properly. Even Indians with a British accent I can't deal with. That's like you're not following historical protocol. You can't have the accent you were historically oppressed in. It's weird. It's like a cat coming over to your house and you're like, here, kitty, 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 and the cat is like, woof. You leveled up, pussycat. Have you noticed that Indians only ever pick up aspirational accents? Yeah. Like we'll pick up like an Aussie, American, British, right? There are 100,000 Indians in Russia. You ever met one guy at a wedding? Yes, I will have 2 gulab jamuns, please. You met this guy? There are Indians in Mexico. Hey, Wapo, give me 2 gulab jamuns, man. There are Indians in Germany. Yeah, und I will have 2 gulab jamun. Dipped in the final solution. Where are these Indian people? And the worst accent is that Indian uncle NRI accent. You know the one? The Indian guys who've been abroad for half their life and here for half their life. That weird, hey man, come to my shop tomorrow. I give you good deal on jeans for your daughter. Who do you think you're talking to when you talk that way? You sound like Stephen Hawking fuck Deepak Chopra, alright? Just shut up and run Google. Really? Have you seen the big tech hearings? Why do you think Sundar Pichai is not in trouble? It's because they can only understand half the shit he says. You got him, Mark Zuckerberg, and that homeless guy from Twitter. And Google shares the most data, by the way. The most data is shared by Google, which is such an Indian thing. Because Siri will secretly listen to you, but Google Assistant will listen to you and tell everybody else. That's as Indian as it gets. I don't know. What do they have in the West? Do they have privilege? Is that what's so exciting? I don't think so anymore. You know, Indians have privilege. Unlimited privilege. In India, everybody's privileged compared to somebody else. No matter how good you have it, somebody has it better. No matter how bad you have it, somebody has it worse in India. In the West, there's a bottom. Like in America, if your life gets worse, you've left. You've hit Mexico. And in India, no matter how good you have it, somebody has it better. Mukesh Ambani is the richest man in India. Lives in his own skyscraper. Even he's jealous of somebody. Like, even he's looking down at his neighbor like, look at Sharma ji. His son knows how to drive properly. You're going to lose electricity in 5 seconds. They have privilege. I don't know what they have. Maybe here's what they have in the West. They have an entitlement for justice, where they feel like each one of them deserves justice. And if they don't get justice, they march. I love that. My favorite thing in the world is when white people march. Starbucks fights, not swastika fights. Because that too is a notion of privilege, right? When they get out in the West, they're like, we disagree with the policies of this government, so we're gonna march. We're gonna walk from here to there. And then from there to there. And our sacrifice will change the world. Meanwhile, there are children getting their heads split open in JNU and children with umbrellas on their heads in Hong Kong and revolutionaries who threw Molotov cocktails at crowded tanks in Egyptian squares looking at that shit on TV going, Basam, what are these white people doing? They're marching. Is this a political takeover, a military coup? No, Bashir, they are just woke. Wait, they are woke or they woke? In America, it's the same thing. Well, what have they accomplished? 16 blogs and 2 hashtags. White people will film hate crimes because the entitlement of justice. Have you seen that? Yeah? Something's going wrong. A white person will pull out their phone. What you're doing, sir, is wrong. This is a hate crime. You're going to go viral, sir. There are going to be consequences. This is wrong, sir. It's wrong. Every time a white person films a hate crime for somebody over there, in the background you can see an Indian person just quietly walking to work. He's like, I didn't see shit. I don't have my green card yet. This is not my problem. And yet they're divided. I feel like the West is more divided than we are in terms of their left and right. Would you agree with that, yeah? It's because their politics is so down the middle. It's like Harry Potter. That's what their politics is. They're both fighting a fictitious enemy whose name they cannot say. And they divide them like, they go to one group of people and be like, okay, you are Gryffindors and they are Slytherins and you are special people who are going to defeat the Slytherins. Then they go to this group of people and be like, you are Gryffindors and they are Slytherins and you are special people who are going to defeat the Slytherins. And the truth is we are all Hufflepuffs. Nobody gives a fuck about us. That's a good response to that joke. Because, you know, usually in the West they're surprised when I do that joke. There's like one white lady like, they have Harry Potter in India? And we do, right? Any fans of Harry Potter, yeah? It's huge here. We've loved British magic for centuries now. Remember that one magic trick where they made all our resources disappear? That was such a good trick, guys. Hey folks, it's Veer Das. I hope you enjoyed the brand new episode of 10 on 10. We wanted to make like a slightly more light-hearted, chilled out version this time. So we did The Crumbling of the West. Anyway, how this works is leave me comments on what you think the next 10 on 10 should be about. As you know, we banked this one before I left. I'm in London shooting a movie. So send me your comments on what you want the next one to be about, and we'll try and do the next one in Goa about that. Hit like, share, subscribe, anything that makes me a YouTuber, apparently. And these videos have been getting a lot of love, so I appreciate you guys. Please share it with all of your friends while they are still up. If you know what I mean.